Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone, and the Oklahoma City Thunder are your 2025 NBA champions. I was at Paycom Center in the arena for Game 7. I lost my voice. I bawled my eyes out when they won it all. If you want to see that full reaction video, which makes the previous crying video look like absolutely nothing, that's featured in the video that just dropped over on the Snapback Sports channel that documented my journey as a content creator, as a Thunder fan, going from the rebuild days to now being at Game 5 and Game 7, seeing them close it out. Genuinely one of my favorite videos ever created. I will link that down below, and I'll try to pin a comment with it as well. But here we are. They went ahead and they got the job done in Game 7. I feel like I'm on top of the world at the moment. So let's go ahead and talk about how Game 7 went, how the Thunder secured their first championship, and, maybe a little bit about what's going to happen going forward. Because obviously this Thunder team, with how young they are, the second youngest champions ever, there's a really long runway. People are going to start talking about dynasty potential, and I don't want to get into that too much. I want to stay in the moment. But this team definitely has a shot to do so, if there ever was a team in this modern era. But the reason the Thunder won Game 7 was the defense. All season, this has been one of the best defenses in NBA history. They have forced turnovers at a historic rate. They have clamped teams up. They have stopped a number of the best offenses in basketball dead in their tracks. And that was the case again here. The Pacers shot just 41% from the field, ended up turning the ball over 21 times. Really just could not get much of anything going. And part of that was Tyrese Haliburton being injured. Of course, we'll talk about that once I get to the Pacers side of things. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander empties the clip in this one. Not his most efficient game, but 29 points, 12 assists with just one turnover. And that was the big thing for Shai, is the playmaking. The reason the Thunder won this game, got enough offensively to get the job done, because it was ugly at times like most Game 7s are, was his playmaking. He was setting up shooter after cutter. Shai, that's one of the big areas he took a leap in this season, but there still were a couple of times in this series where it felt like Shai got a little bit too much in his scoring bag and wasn't leveraging his playmaking enough. But when he does that, there is truly nobody that can stop this Oklahoma City Thunder team. And he really leveled up over the course of this season, over the course of the past few years, to the point when the Thunder need him most, coming off of Game 6, where he had 8 turnovers and I believe it was not a single assist. Shai comes out and has one of the best playmaking games of his entire career, in addition to hitting some tough buckets, hits a couple of threes. Jalen Williams, another big game from him, 24, 4, 2 steals, hit a couple of threes as well. There was one stretch where Shai, Dub, and Chet, the big three, all hit threes back to back to back. And Chet Holmgren has one of his best games of the finals, 18 points, 8 rebounds, 5 blocks. That is the most by anybody in a Game 7 ever. And this was one of his best defensive games of his entire career. Those three guys got the job done when the Thunder needed it most. And this is a big three that I have defended a ton. I've defended Shai, I've defended Jalen Williams as the second option, and Chet as that third guy, the guy that really holds it all together as one of the best rim protectors, if not the best rim protector in the entire sport at the moment. And for them to go ahead and be the trio that gets it done after Katie, Russ, Harden weren't able to do so, it feels like the Thunder have been given a second opportunity with a young big three that have all the potential in the world. And it makes me so happy to see these three guys be able to lift Larry O'Brien trophy and get it done together in a very early stage in them being a trio. Like, this is the second season that Shai, Jadam, and Chet have all played together, and it's like hardly a second season because Chet missed a majority of this year with that hip injury. So Chet being able to do what he did, dominate defensively the way he did in Game 7 is something special in its own right, but never mind the growth, the just trajectory this trio is on, despite not being able to play together very often. It's hard to even fathom. Jalen Williams is now a champion, an all-star, an all-NBA player, an all-defensive player in his third season. Shai, at the age of 26, not only has a Hall of Fame resume, he has one of the best guard resumes out of anybody in the modern era. He is an MVP, a scoring champion, a 3-time All-NBA first-teamer, a Finals MVP, the first player to get Finals MVP and MVP since LeBron James in 2013, and the first player to have a scoring champion on top of that in I think like 20 years or something along those lines. The big three were the reason this thing majority got done, and a lot of that starts defensively, but they also carry the load on the offensive end as well. Okay, 29 from Shai, 18 from Chet, 20 from Jalen Williams. That is a combined, if I can do some quick math here, 67 points out of the 103 that the Thunder scored, majority of them. And I couldn't be happier that these are the three guys that are going to be leading the Thunder into this next era and hopefully what ends up becoming a dynasty, if you ask me. But also was Lu Dort, who had a couple of threes and was incredible defensively, had 3 steals, hit 1 3 from the absolute definition of the logo, a shot clock heave. That was a special moment. And to see Lou go from someone who was being left open in Game 7 against the Rockets to hitting a couple of threes, being the Thunder's most reliable three-point shooter for a majority of these finals and this lockdown defender, from him crying on the podium because the Thunder lost Game 7 against the Rockets in his rookie season, to now being able to sit there with the Larry O'Brien trophy. It's something incredibly special. Lu Dort's one of my favorite players ever. Someday that number 5 will be hanging in the rafters, and I couldn't be happier for him. Alongside this big three, Isaiah Hartenstein, big game from him as well. 4 assists, did a great job passing to Cutter, 7 points, 9 rebounds, special in just 18 minutes. It felt like he made such a massive impact. Alex Caruso, I can't say enough good about Alex Caruso. Now a 2-time champion, 10 points, 3 steals, wreaking havoc, hit 2 threes when the Thunder couldn't get much going early in this game. He was hitting 3 after 3. Cason Wallace too, had a really rough Game 6, has had a rough finals for the most part, but was game-breaking defensively in this one. Finished with 10 points, 2 of 3 shooting from the outside as well. Just a complete team effort, which is what the Thunder have done all season. It's spearheaded by the big three, and, Caruso and Hartenstein and Cason, those guys are important, and Lu Dort, but really everybody provides something of value. Mark Daigneault, I thought he did a great job coaching as well, getting these guys in position, getting easier shots on the offensive end. He is now an NBA champion and a coach of the year in just a few short seasons. This is one of the greatest rebuilds of all time. I've said that before, and people said, oh, you can't say that until they're champions. They're champions now. And there's no reason to not call this one of the best rebuilds in the history of the sport, because that is just the truth of the matter. Teams aren't supposed to go from 19 wins to the mountaintop this quickly. Teams aren't supposed to go from trading away the best player in franchise history in Russell Westbrook in 2020 and 5 years later being the NBA champions. That's not really the way it's supposed to go. But Shai, Dub, Chet, Dort, Caruso, Hartenstein, all these guys got the Thunder back to this point, and this could only be the beginning. Again, incredibly young team. There's still so much growth. I feel like offensively the team definitely needs to make some strides over the course of this offseason, whether it's schematically or making additions, because that was definitely the weak point. The defense brought the Thunder to this point, but offensively they've got to be better shooting the 3 ball, have to be better in terms of shot creation, playmaking, and Nikola Topic I think could help with that potentially. A full offseason and some growth from Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Williams is only going to get better, and obviously Shai has gotten drastically better every season of his career. I think a lot of that will come internally, but I wouldn't be shocked if outside additions are made, because, in the NBA, you can never really stay stagnant. The Rockets just had Kevin Durant earlier today. Teams are going to gun for the Thunder out in that Western Conference, and it's up to the Thunder to go ahead and meet that task. And I think they're very, very capable of repeating and being this perennial threat to win the championship and winning 2, 3, maybe even more rings with this group. I'd love to go ahead and see it. So, those are some of my thoughts on Game 7. I think I'm going to make a full video talking about the Thunder's trajectory, where they go from here, as well as I want to make this documentary style video talking about the first big three until now and what that journey was like. So that'll come at some point over the summer. I want that to be a big project. For the Indiana Pacers, so much respect for Indiana. One of my favorite stories in basketball history. If the Thunder weren't here, if it was any other team representing the West, I would have been rooting so heavily for the Indiana Pacers, the clutch heroics, the fact that they weren't supposed to be here. They were one of the biggest Cinderella stories in the history of professional sports, never mind just basketball, and they end up coming 1 game short of their ultimate goal of becoming the most unlikely champions probably ever. And a really horrific part of that is the Haliburton injury. Took the air completely out of the building, and it just absolutely sucks. Of course, I want to see the Thunder win, but I never want to see injuries, regardless if it's the NBA Finals, it's Game 7, especially not to a guy like Haliburton, who is genuinely one of my favorite players in the entire sport. He's such a warrior for playing on that hurt calf when clearly Achilles injuries are a big possibility if you're dealing with a calf injury, whether it was Dame in the first round or Jason Tatum in the second round, and now Haliburton and Kevin Durant in the 2019 finals. I don't know if we ever see a player again play on a calf injury after these playoffs, specifically over in the Eastern Conference, because just guy after guy, superstar after superstar just dropping with those Achilles injuries. And obviously the Pacers losing here is devastating, but now you have to think, what do they do going into next season? When is Haliburton able to come back? What moves do they make to try and and shore things up. I mean, this team is deep enough to hold their own without Haliburton for a majority of the season, but if they want to be back in this position trying to win a title, they need Haliburton at full strength, and I just don't know if he comes back next season, especially with the injury happening this late into the year. Even if it's like a 9-month recovery, he's not going to be back until like right at the start of the playoffs, and that's a pretty intense time to bring a guy back off that type of injury. So I don't know. It just really, really sucks. I just, the entire time that Haliburton has been playing on this calf injury, I've just been sitting there, I feel like the whole time, crossing my fingers and being terrified that something was going to happen, and it does end up happening here. So all the prayers in the world out to Tyrese Haliburton, and all the love out to the Indiana Pacers. Genuinely one of the most terrifying teams I've ever had to watch the Thunder face. In fact, I think they are the most terrifying. I don't even think there's a conversation there when you think about the fact that even without Haliburton for a majority of this game, they fought incredibly hard, whether it was Siakam or it was Nembhard or Benedict Mathurin or TJ McConnell. Oh my God, if I never have to see TJ McConnell play the Thunder again, it'll be too soon. He finished with 16 points, had 7 turnovers, didn't feel like that. It felt like he played literally a perfect game. I'm sick of guys, whether it's TJ or PJ Washington or McConnell, like people that is a letter and then a J in their name. I need them to stop cooking the Thunder. I don't know who it's going to be next season. It was a war in this series, and it was the absolute nightmare to go up against the Indiana Pacers. I really hope next season Haliburton is able to come back at some point, or they're able to stay afloat enough for him to be able to return. And just at some point in general, the Pacers make it back to this point and they get the job done. Because I think this group, this core, is incredibly deserving of being the one to bring Indiana a championship. And it was terrifying at all moments to face the Indiana Pacers. Nothing but love for Pacers fans in this team. Again, genuinely one of my favorite sports in basketball history. And I'm not just saying that because the Thunder have won now. Even if the Thunder lost, they were that would have made them probably the greatest story in NBA basketball history. But I do believe at some point this team is very capable of being back, and I hope that is the case. I think they deserve that. Just so much credit to Rick Carlisle for getting this team in position 2, for coaching them, for them elevating throughout the playoffs. They proved that it wasn't a fluke, that they made the conference finals last year for a reason. They made it back here to the conference finals and then the NBA finals. And I hope someday they're back in this position. I would love to see a Thunder Pacers rematch. As the basketball fan in me within the next couple of seasons, as the Thunder fan in me, please, absolutely not. I would hate to see that because, again, this is absolutely a terrifying force of a team. But for the moment, I think those are my thoughts on Game 7 and the NBA as a whole right now for this season. I want to thank y'all for all the support in the world over the course of this year. I was able to pay for myself to be in Game 7, seeing the Oklahoma City Thunder win a championship because y'all have supported me here on YouTube, on Twitter, wherever it's been. I can't thank y'all enough. It's literally a dream come true to see my favorite team win a championship, to be here having basketball, talking about hoops as my career. I never thought I'd be in this position, and y'all have made it possible. So thank you so much. Just so much gratitude right now, whether it is with the Thunder winning the championship or what y'all have done for me. And I can never repay you. I just hope these videos and, the tweets and stuff are entertaining enough to make y'all understand just how much you mean to me. I think also a video I'll have to make coming up here soon is what happens with the Eastern Conference going into next season, because with Tatum now out for the season and Tyrese Haliburton and no Dame next year, even if the Bucks keep Giannis, who is the top dog in the East? The Cavs feel like a natural fit, but they had some issues in the playoffs this year. And what about the New York Knicks? Could that be their chance to go ahead and make a run? Or, the Sixers, if they get healthy, could they do something crazy? I feel like, maybe it's the Magic. Maybe they're the shock team next year, or the Hawks, if they make some crazy moves. I feel like all these injuries open up a whole can of worms for Eastern Conference teams to make shifts, make big time moves. And I was already saying that after the Tatum injury, never mind with the Haliburton injury now, I think we're going to see some chaos out in the Eastern Conference over the course of the summer. I mean, the draft is 2 days away. We're right there. Also, I'm going to be at the parade, by the way, in Oklahoma City on Tuesday morning. So if any of y'all are there, make sure to go ahead and say hi if you see me. Shout out to all y'all that said hey at the game today over the course of this season. Anytime I'm there, it's like my favorite thing in the world to actually meet y'all in person, because, I can see comments and followers and everything like that. But getting to hear in real life people that are like, yo, I love your videos and I watch them and things like that, it's what this is all about. So for the very last time in the 2025 NBA season, although literally I'll probably talk to you all tomorrow about the NBA draft, or with the way trade rumors are going, maybe sometime sooner. But for the last time in the 2025 NBA season, I appreciate y'all watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you've enjoyed. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. The Thunder NBA champions. I'll see y'all later. Real one, say it back.